My beloved Las Vegas Raiders fired the offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, and they made offensive coordinator is now Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen has been with the Raiders. He's been around the league. He was with Derek Carr, and he was Derek Carr's offensive coordinator for a time. Derek Carr had a lot of good things to say about this move going over to a new offensive coordinator who understands this team and has a more simplified philosophy. Number one, Derek Carr said, when you're looking at a Greg Olsen offense, it is going to be protect the quarterback. So this offensive line, which has been an absolute disaster for the Las Vegas Raiders, worst in the NFL, you should see some improvements. But how big of an improvement it's going to be, well, only time will tell, because first of all, I don't expect any major improvement this week due to the fact that it's only been a week and he has now taken over the offensive line and the offense in general. And so I do believe that he is going to have more packages that are going to protect Geno Smith. And I think that this has been Geno Smith's frustration with this team as well. He has not come out and said it, but he's said so much with his body mechanics and how he is looking out there on and off the field that he is not happy with the team that he has right now in the offensive line. And I think that this is a big John Spytek concern. John Spytek had all offseason to go out there and add talent to that offensive line, and he really didn't do so other than drafting some rookies in the third round. But he did not go out and get some real studs at the offensive line, and then compare that with the fact that, Pete Carroll has been super stubborn about this JPJ thing and him having to compete for his position when he is clearly the second best offensive lineman on this team after Colton Miller. And Colton Miller and him are now injured, so now you have a bunch of old scrubs and he's still not playing the rookies, despite the fact that we have zero chance of making the playoffs. So I don't understand that part. But I do know this. Greg Olsen is extremely respected in the NFL. He's extremely respected by Pete Carroll. And I think that Pete Carroll is going to say, you know what? Do your thing, Greg. Because at this point, we're not seeing Ashton Jeanty get the ball nearly enough. And while Greg Olsen has been known to throw the ball 50 times in a game, he's also been known to run the ball with his primary running back 30 times a game. And it really depends on the matchups and what he is seeing. So I expect for the Raiders over the next couple of weeks and throughout the rest of the season that a Greg Olsen offense is going to be more of run the ball heavy, play action, easy completion passes, and in particular, passes going to the tight ends. You're going to see a heavy dose of Brock Bowers from a Greg Olsen offense. You're not going to see, Geno Smith throwing the ball into the end zone to Trey Tucker when he's double covered, because that's not even what the play is going to be. The play is not going to be when it's, second down and 15 and goal to try and hit Trey Tucker in the back of the end zone. Trey Tucker is like 5'9". Trey Tucker, you hit him when you have 80 yards to go to get to the end zone. And that's been the problem. We've seen it time and time again, where instead of going to your elite tight end, you're going to your 5'9" guy, Trey Tucker, in the back of the end zone. And that's just because that's the way that the play was called. And I think that with Greg Olsen, he is very infatuated with our tight end. So I expect to see a very heavy dose of that, which is now going to open up for Ashton Jeanty to be able to start getting the ball 20-plus times a game, which is really what he needs. But because the offensive line is so bad, watch Ashton Jeanty get a couple of screen passes every single game and a bunch of quick little outs to Ashton Jeanty so that you're just getting the ball in his hands and give him room to run and do his thing. And then that's going to open up and should soften up the defensive line a little bit to where he can get some creases and get some positive yards on the run. So here's my thing. Am I happy that Chip Kelly didn't work out? Absolutely not. I was excited. I was hopeful that Chip Kelly's dynamic offense would really, be a hit for the Raiders and we could even make a playoff run this year. But, he's had a couple of stints in the NFL and it's never worked out. Some coaches are just like that. Some coaches are good in college and then they come to the NFL and they're just a complete and utter bust. I think that this is the nail in the coffin for Chip Kelly's NFL career. He's going to have to now go and find another job as a offensive coordinator at another school in college for the next few years until he can get himself a head coaching job in college. And college is where Chip Kelly needs to stay. In fact, him coming to the Raiders was a huge mistake for his career. Not huge mistake. I mean, he is making $6 million a year for the next 3 years without even having to work. So that works in his favor. But at the same time, he probably should have stayed in Ohio State and continued to win championships with that team. But I am glad that they went with Greg Olsen. We're not going to get a super high-flying offense, guys. We don't even have the talent for that, so we've got to be 100% honest. But at the end of the day, we're going to be more competitive, and I think that you're going to see a better side of Geno Smith than what we've seen all year. I think game one, Geno Smith that we've seen week one, is what you're going to see more of on a more routine basis when it comes to a Greg Olsen offense versus a Chip Kelly offense. I think everybody's going to be more on the same page. I think that you're going to get a lot more play actions, which is where Geno Smith shines. And I think that you're going to get a lot of more of these tight end, shallow crosses and deep crosses. Again, something that Geno Smith shines when those plays are called. Where he really struggles is pretty much anything to the wide receivers. That's where we've had all of our troubles. So a lot of quick outs, running backs, tight ends. You're going to see the Raiders be more competitive. But listen, I'm not going to hold my breath and think that the Raiders are even going to win 3 more games this year. I think the Raiders are going to be really fortunate if they win 2 more games this year. But that's only going to hurt us in the draft. So I'm not even really looking forward to that. But because I'm not looking forward to any of these games for the rest of the season, obviously I will watch them because I'm a diehard Raiders fan. But what I am doing now is I have begun my scouting process for offensive line, for cornerbacks, and most importantly, the quarterback position for the 2026 NFL Draft. So I'm going to start dropping videos, one of those scouting report videos every single week on the channel right here on the Raider D Now Daily Rumble Sports channel. Yes, we've changed the name. We want to broaden out a little bit. Please don't kill me, but if you want to be angry at me and comment in the section, I still love you anyway. It's Raider Nation all day, but we're going to be doing a lot more broadening out with the sports content coming up here on this channel. So guys, please stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.